Joining me now is Perry Flemming with 100 Black Men of Greater Washington, D.C. Perry, welcome to WIN TV. And if you can unmute yourself, then we would love to know what to be doing with our money. Wonderful. Welcome to WIN TV.
Thank you for the invitation.
Surely, surely. So, we've had some great conversations about statehood and, prospective candidate for governor. And now we're talking about, construction and jobs and redevelopment. But, it all starts individually, with folks, one, who have not only the interest or the passion to do things, but have been able to figure out, how to manage their own resources to get to, at least to get to, I don't want to say, to get to first base. So tell me, how is it that you are involved in, financial planning?
Yeah, so thank you again for the invitation. Perry Flemming, Economic Empowerment Chair of the 100 Black Men. And I actually got my start in the financial services through the 100 Black Men. We're a mentoring organization. When I was a student at Morehouse College 25 years ago, I was a student that needed economic empowerment. So to go from that person that was in need to be somebody that can extend that to others is a blessing that wouldn't have been made possible without the grace of God, as well as through the mentorship of men and women that look like you and I. And so, while this is something that does require some level of accountability, it's also one that we need to extend our arms and actually we strive together. And it's one of those walks of life that we can actually accomplish more together than we can do individually.
So when you talk to people, what is the first message you try to share with them about, financial empowerment? What is it that you want people to, if they don't hear you say anything else, what is it that you want them to know? That one thing.
Yep. So it's about accountability. So what I tell people is let's not compare ourselves against our peers, our other people. Let's draw the line in the sand and compare ourselves against our previous selves. And as long as we're striving and outperforming that previous person, that we're headed in the right direction. We also have a legacy of racism in America. So while it's dying slowly, we still have a legacy of that within economic empowerment. And that resides within unconscious biases as well as systematic racism that falls, especially within underserved communities and people of color.
So, do we start with, the credit score? Do we start with the bank account? Do we start with, the best way to handle our bills? What are those other things that you share with folks?
Absolutely. So credit is certainly an important part of that. I previously worked at Credit Bureau Experian. And so your credit score ranges from, a low credit score of 300 to 579, and roughly, let's say 20% of America is there. And, 20% of America have an excellent credit score, which is roughly 800 to 850 credit score. But back to my point of, drawing the line in the sand and trying to improve, it really comes with education and understanding what makes up that specific credit score. So it's no getting around making your payments on time. That's 35% of the formula, if you will, for a credit score. The one part that people don't realize is the percentage of credit that you're actually utilizing makes up a significant part of the credit score as well. And so, for example, if you have a credit limit of $100, you don't want to go over $30 or 30% of that credit limit, because after that, it starts making a negative impact of your credit. And that makes up a significant part of it. And that's the second thing that's most important behind making your payment on time.
That's amazing, because first of all, you shared two things with me. One, I didn't know credit scores went above 800. So that tells you a little bit about what I know. And also that 30%, credit limit that you put on yourself. I think that's really informative news. But, people have been struggling, over the past year, even those who had the best credit scores. You talked about racism, but in the past year, we've dealt with the pandemic. And although, the federal government has tried to be helpful, in providing, more resources for folks, they still may find themselves either, I don't know, are we better off? Because I keep hearing stories that, folks aren't as bad off as we may think they may be. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, so COVID-19 is both a health and an economic pandemic. So it's negatively impacted both the health as well as the economic balance sheet of the African American disproportionately. And so one of the things we've been focused on within the 100 Black Men is making sure that we help those that don't get the benefit of modifications. That's when you can reach out to your bank and secure an adjustment on your mortgage payment so you can stay in your home. There's a lot of people that didn't have that benefit during COVID-19. So we're blessed enough to receive grants from partners, and we're able to help several families that were not able, that had risk of being put out of their homes, stay in their homes during this COVID-19 period of time. We also have had programs such as Secure the Bag that helps people look at their skill set, develop an elevator speech, update their LinkedIn profile, get practice with interviews and updating their resume so they can maximize their earning potential. And we also have a program called Level Up that'll help people determine whether or not they wanted to go back to grad school or develop a certificate that can maximize their earning potential. So we're doing it at multiple levels. We mentor each other within the 100 Black Men. We have mentorship of men and women at Howard University, and we leverage those students at Howard University to mentor the middle school and high school students in some of the most impoverished communities within the District of Columbia and Northern Virginia as well.
That's fantastic. So for those who are listening and may want to know, how they could tap into some of these resources, what would they need to do?
We have website, the 100 Black Men of Greater Washington, DC.org. We also have social media accounts on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, where you can find us at 100 Black Men of Greater Washington, DC.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. But, there's lots of more questions I could ask, but, time is of the essence here. And, we may want to get back because we love to hear success stories, people who found themselves really deep down in a hole, financial hole, but were able to climb themselves out because of, learning some of the skills that you've shared. So we might want to get back if you have, or a young person that you've talked to and see if we can have that conversation in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invitation.
All right. Thank you so much.